In the top right side, I am very excited to announce that we have a returning player from ITaX. It is the Red Zerg LEENOCK. I hope he's on ITaX at least. That's what Liquipedia is telling me. I'm going to be leaving that right now. Keen, actually, I probably should have looked this up as well. My apologies, my prep work right now is not all the best due to a quick replacing of which cast I was doing. Anyway, bottom left side, we have the very blue, the very Terran from Freaka Freaks, Mr. Keen. Mr. Keen on the Freaka Freaks. I think he's teamless, actually. Yeah. It would make sense, honestly, because he's been on ITaX through his military career, according to Liquipedia. So it seems like that's just a fault in the matrix right there for Liquipedia or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't happen often. But when it does, it throws you for a loop, because you assume that everything is flawless, as usually is. Alright. Little expanding going on for both these players. Looking pretty good, like both these old boys are down to play the long games right here. LEENOCK always was a player that would rely on very intense multitasking. Running around with lings, the run-bys. All of that good Zerg jazz. And that's how we got his nickname, right? The LEENOCTOPUS. It just seems like he had multiple arms reaching out, doing everything they can. Right now, just clearing out some debris. Very standard stuff from both these players, which is nice to see. It's nice to see. I like 2000 atmospheres mainly because the bodies of every corpse go upwards instead of downwards. That's the main reason. At some point, we're gonna have a map where the bodies go sideways, and that'll be something else. Suddenly have that going on in a couple of maps. If these guys become drone pilots, you wouldn't want to go to war with them. Yeah, I can get that. I mean, they'll probably get bored of just one drone, right? They'll be like, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm just going straight forwards here. I could probably, you know, operate 6 of these at the same time. Just multitask back and forth between all the two. Alright. Some discussion going on about the BMs in from players as well, from some of the past. But we'll go into some of that maybe later on. Some talking material, I suppose. We do have a Hellbat push coming up, of course. A couple of queens here already. That Baneling Nest, though, not quite yet set up. So this could be quite a bit of damage right here. Comes in very early. Does not have even any stim or anything like that. One Hellbat a little bit on his lonesome down the right side. Banelings are now being morphed. Time is ticking. Those Hellbats getting closer and closer to the drone line. The drone line could just run away right here. Maybe a little bit slow with the pull. No, actually, that's pretty darn good. Queens with their backs up against the wall right now to struggle against that firepower of the Marines. But there are the Banelings, and the Banelings do not manage to connect onto the Marines. But they do a good amount of damage against those Hellbats. Oh, those drones right there. Those are some brave little drone boys. Now with 2 queens here. More Hellions actually appear Those drones already a little bit in orange right now. One or two more good shots on that enormous pack, and that could be an enormous amount of damage. LEENOCK. I mean, his drones, I don't know exactly how, but they have been orange for a very long time, and, well, he does lose 5 of them, but I think that is manageable for him. I think that is manageable for him. He's gonna drone up pretty quickly from here. He's got the 4th base already on the way. So the base full keen as well, though, and that should keep him quite nice and tight in this race as well. Throwing down the 4 extra barracks right now will really ramp up his production. That's right. Now, he doesn't have much at the front door, but it doesn't seem like LEENOCK has any intention of trying to do some sort of a counter-attack either. Ooh, Banshee play here, even with the cloak finished up. We do have a lair available, but there's no spore crawler here. Overseer is flying on into this location. Single spore crawler at the natural, keeping things safe. One in the main base as well. 3 kills right there. Does keep the Banshee alive. Maybe he'll be able to pick off a couple more. There we go. 4, 5. You know what? This is starting to add up right now. There's one singular Banshee. Do we have any more Banshees, actually? We do have a second one. There we go. Coming in right now. That Viking pulling away some of the Queen's attention. And continues onwards. Now, we did go for 2 Banshees, so I would like to see a little bit more drone damage overall. But they are still around, and that is important. I'll be able to provoke LEENOCK elsewhere, right? And then poke back in with those Banshees. But that time is going to be short because, well, there is a Spire that finished up. 8 Mutalisk now in the production tab. Starting up the +1 attack upgrade for flying units as well. Oh, Banshees came back around. 2 drones right there. Realizing that time is ticking for them being any use at all. What's up, Drone Canadian? Thank you for that raid, my man. Much appreciated. Some Drone Canadian coming in. Bringing a couple of his friends around. This base right here, it looks like it should be okay. The Widow Mines have been set off successfully, and now the Marines are just going to have to lift up. But those Mutalisks are holding that tail, though. Hopefully, oh, nope, that was not the right call to make there. Both of the, well, actually 3 of those medevacts went down there, and all the Marines with them as well. So yeah, LEENOCK here in a marvelous position, I would say. Let's take a look at the units lost tab. A little bit behind on those minerals, but I think that should be okay. Really containing Keen's aggression quite well here. Now, he's starting to look rather intimidating with the Baneling count. 27 Banelings in production right here. How many Widow Mines are there in total? There are 8 of them, so... I mean, 8 Widow Mines, that should be enough to hold something like this, right? Unless if we get really good detonations here. Alright, let's see. Oh... Okay, yeah, looking alright. So far, more Widow Mines coming in. You gotta maybe think about retargeting some of those. As the Zerglings are doing a really good job setting off the Widow Mines before the Banelings get even close. 1 more remaining. And, well, he did not manage to get those Widow Mines where they needed to go. Unfortunately, GG, there we have it. LEENOCK taking a quick first game. He's got 1 point on the board. He might be teamless, or he may have been in a team for, well, about 3 or 4 years by now. And never left, even during military service, which would be Titan X, but we're assuming he's teamless right now. He is the Red Zerg player. His name is LEENOCK. Top left side, a man trying something sneaky here, it would appear. He is on the Afrika Freaks. His name is Keen. Alright, couple of barracks popping up in the middle of the map here. LEENOCK, let's see if you are still able to deal with this type of shindiggery. Shindig-foolery around. Well, Terran shenanigans, really, is what it is. Don't know how many other words I can give it. I think I reached my limit there. Oh, yeah. Going to travel in a very ludicrous naming of things. Alright, well, I mean, LEENOCK, he's got a spawning pool and a extractor on the way, of course. May have to pull some drones here in order to keep that natural base secure. His Overlord's going a bit too far to the top right side. It's going to be a little bit difficult to ensure that there's no SCVs here, right? He has no vision over his natural base. So those SCVs, if they really wanted to, they could have already started up a bunker here without LEENOCK's knowledge. And I think if he had done that, this could have already been GG right here, right now. Or at least, well, for this hatchery. Alright, and we'll start attacking it here as the hatchery finishes up. Of course, the drones still have a little bit of an opportunity now to try and stop this bunker from being finished. Needs to send enough drones to force those marines backwards and then have a couple of drones on top of the SCVs trying to get rid of those. Stop that production. He needs to stay on top of this micro here. Okay, there we go. SCV number 1 is down, but the second one is available. And, okay, he's just going to force the cancel right there. Well done by LEENOCK. It looks like he's starting to really gain control of this situation right now. Of which he pretty much had no idea what's coming in. And yeah, I mean, Keen was playing it correctly. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to just send in the SCV too early and then start building the bunker right away normally, right? Because there should be an Overlord there. At least around this area, making sure that you see SCVs moving in, and then you can send those drones a little bit earlier before there's marine protection, and it becomes more difficult to get that bunker up instead of easier. Alright, what's the follow-up here? Let's take a look. The barracks are floating back around. We're having a factory and a command center in the production tab here for Keen. And just trying to make some work happen with 3 Reapers right now. Keep tabs on LEENOCK. Keep him honest, perhaps. Actually, a 3rd CC now in production here as well. Rather early on, but you know what, it might work, right? It might work. Few links here just to check things out. Actually, that's a lot of links in production. That's 12 more links in production. The bailing nest is done. Oh boy, we may just get ourselves a full-on attempt at a bailing bust here. I think we are. I think that is what we're seeing. There's not much overall. There is a safety bunker, which is a very good thing for Keen, but he may need to make another safety bunker up on that ramp. You may want to make 2 safety bunkers up on that ramp, because this is a dangerous situation. Okay, goes out with the Reapers, needs to get that scouting going on, and needs to lower these circling numbers as much as possible. Watch out not to get surrounded, of course. That would be the death of him. One slight mistake, one misstep here from Keen, and it could be done and over. Is he aware that this is coming in? He's throwing mules on the low ground, which makes me think that he's not quite aware of what is coming in. Those Zerglings shutting off the retreat path for those Reapers. There's also a Marine up there, and they are going to go down rather quickly. Alien goes back up on top of the ramp, trying to stay safe right there, but those supply depots, they will not really provide any protection for a long period of time. Zerglings here now wrapping around. Will the Hellion Micro be as amazing as we've ever seen it? It does not look likely. Too many SCVs here going down, and yeah, LEENOCK right there. Seems like he still is familiar with how to deal with a Proxy 2 Rex right there. He's the red Zerg player in the top right side. Teamless right now. We suspect he's LEENOCK. Bottom left side, the blue Terran from the Africa Freaks. Give it up for Keen. Really needs your help right now. Needs the power of the fandom. The power of all trust in him that you can send his way. All the good faith. Whatever. Whatever you may believe in. That could help this man out. When will Lucira be back? I don't know. I don't know if he will be back. It would be cool though. He's a cool player. Or he was a cool player. And he was like continuously improving as well. I was quite upset still because I always felt like we never got to see the real ultimates of Lucira. Wait, what? I forgot how to pronounce his name. Lucira? Lucira. There we go. Is Gumiho out of the military yet? Today is his last day. Really? Oh, that is exciting. We're getting so many old faces back in StarCraft 2, and it is something else. Let me tell you. It's a good day to be a nerd for StarCraft. It's a very good day to be a nerd for StarCraft. Alright, both players once again sticking to the more casual openings. Nothing being proxied, nobody going for a spawning pool first, anything like that. Just good old openings here from the TVZ meta. Reaper right there. Doesn't quite get the block on the third base hatch. That could have been okay. With the drone getting there in time. And the Reaper not quite catching wind of that one. I suppose you could make the case that it might not be worth even chasing after that drone in a sense, because it's just going to turn itself into an extractor. And then, you know, if you go for the natural instead, you might be able to get yourself a drone kill, 2 Zergling kills, anything like that really, but a creep tumor before it's done, right? Not as much if you're just shooting an extractor. That will eventually become a hatchery anyway. Alright, quick third again here from Keen. No Hellbat push this time around though, so he might be able to have himself set up in a better position than he was in that game number 1. And the Hellbat push kind of fell flat, honestly. And the weird thing about the Hellbat push though in game number 1 was that it felt like it was gonna do a whole lot, like multiple times. Like, oh, this is where he gets 12 kills. So like, oh, now we're gonna see the, you know, the 8 extra workers going down instantly. But it never really happened. Maybe with a bit of better execution from Keen, maybe that would have happened, right? But yeah, I couldn't quite manage to make it work. LEENOCK here, well, I was hoping we're not gonna have this happen, but it looks like it's gonna happen anyway. There's no Evo chambers, but he's making a lot of roaches. He's making a lot of roaches. And he's got quite a bit of open supply here, which makes me think that he's gonna stick to roaches here for a while. Now, is this just defensively against, like, a potential Hellbat push? Because that's what hit him the previous game? Well, he's not making any drones, so probably no. This is looking more and more committed. As he's moving across the map with a couple of Ravagers there now being done as well. Alright, the first roaches now available at the entrance. The Ravagers are going to get to work on the infrastructure here. Already getting on top of that supply depot. That's going to allow some of those Zerglings to get in. But it looks like there's just enough firepower for Keen overall, especially with the Banshee here, to hold this off. He's taking a bit more damage than I would like to see, but he's trying his best to keep everything alive here. That bunker really should have been cancelled as well. A couple of biles perhaps that should have been avoided, but overall it looks like with that we are just going to continue onwards with pretty regular game there. LEENOCK not quite managing to knock his opponent out, doing a little bit of damage, but of course also taking a little bit of damage, investing into roaches, ravagers, and mostly zerglings that early on. You know, it was on like the 5-4 minute mark where he stopped making drones, so it's gonna take him a while before he catches up as well in economy. And the rest of the attack lair about to be ready, but it's gonna have to rely on the spore crawlers for now to defend against these cloaked banshees. Not the best time usage there for that banshee shooting an evolution chamber. A little bit busy, I suppose, with the Hellion control right now. Very shy about pushing in there as well. Seems like a pretty open mineral line to me, but maybe I was misjudging the situation, or Keen saw something I didn't. I don't know, maybe he just assumed that there would be more roaches and ravagers closer by, just coming in a lot sooner. We'll lose these banshees right now. Oh no, wait. Oh, one survives. No queen here to finish it off, so alright, does manage to get out of there. The Hellions on the other side decide to go for it this time around, but now there's more than enough to defend against them. Unfortunately, Keen picking the wrong moment to go for it. It's really hard to pick up, like, when is it the time to go for it, really, right? I mean, it's easy for us to say because we have the just vision everywhere cheat, but, you know, if you're just Keen and you're just seeing, alright, like this, right? You have no idea what's waiting over here or here. Are there a bunch of zerglings there just waiting to jump you? You don't know. Going forwards here with a little bit of a push. I suppose this is the best situation we've seen so far for Keen, and I mean, if he's gonna win any map, this is looking the most likely so far that he's gonna be able to take it. He's gonna tie up on the 1-1 upgrades in a moment. Baneling speed still a little bit off, but there is quite a nicely supplied Terran force that could get ready to start pushing here. 74 army supplies strong, still no Baneling speed yet. But it looks like Keen once again just trying to be super careful here. Might be a bit more worried about like run-bys and Mutalisk harassment than he should. Letting some opportunities skimp himself by a little bit here, but you know what? Sometimes that careful playstyle will lead into a victory regardless. Because you don't lose anything either, right? Oh, that's a good bile. Alright. Oh, it's another good bile. Not that many oh, wait a moment. There is a lot of banelings. I want to say not that many banelings, but then a bunch just finished up on the top side. Alright, Keen still pushing on forwards. Still looking good. No run-bys happening just yet, but they are on the way. Zerglings now on top of a command center right here. And there we are, the Marines on top of this base. It's looking like that should go down. LEENOCK losing all of those drones may have to start thinking about just taking a base elsewhere. I really hope he's not going to try to push into this. I really hope he's not going to try to push down that ramp off of creep as well. Losing a lot of banelings there. Just a couple of seconds in the line of sight of those siege tanks. And Keen here, very meticulous with his approach overall. It's a very safe but Very nice way to kind of see him play this. Very relaxing in a sense. Unless if you're a Zerg player, then this is this can be frustrating overall. Just a Terran that is not overextending, not trying to make big moves forcefully happen, right? He's just kind of going somewhere very steadily, sieging up, sieging down, going into the good position and starting to take out creep tumors. Waits for the creep to recede and then he moves onwards. It's textbook Terran, but yeah, I mean, this is why it's textbook Terran, right? Because it's good. It works. Alright, that's a good defensive setup here as well. It seems some Marines there a little bit too on top of one another. The main defense against the Mutalisk, that Thor right there, not going to be able to grab enough protection from their Marines. The command center not being lifted up either against the Zerglings and Banelings. Definitely still quite a bit to be desired there, but I mean, it is still enough. There wasn't another attack. There was another attack going on over here. There were drones dying, but back into action once again, guys. We managed to avoid a clean sweep from this man right here. It's the red Zerg player. Teamless right now. We suspect he is LEENOCK. Bottom right side, he's a blue Terran. He's from the Afrika Freaks. He's a old man indeed. He is a king. Coming back once more with another attempt at the 2 wrecks here. Proxying across the wasteland of Romanticide. Overlords, let's see what kind of movement they decide to utilize this time around. I'm not quite sure if King took a moment in those 5 minutes to look at the replay from his previous 2 racks. Then maybe he identified that Overlord movements being a little bit off, and maybe he's going to feel a little bit more courageous with those SCVs this time around. We'll see. Overlord still moving further forwards. It's going to set up over here. That means there is another little moments here where those SCVs will be able to sneak in, unless if we have like a drone or something coming down here to check, which is something people used to do in the past. So who knows, you know, with a player returning like LEENOCK is, you never know when you might see little tiny things that make a comeback happen here that, you know, people just don't do anymore. But yeah, it doesn't look like that is the case here. SCVs again kind of stocking up with one another here. Will only move out under the careful guardian eye of the Marine right here and his rifle. He's here to stop the Zerg invasion single-handedly. Brave man indeed. Joined the army, thought there would be an actual army involved, but no, they're just going to send him out alone. His buddy Frank is there right now. Bill as well. Gonna start shooting those drones all 3 together here. They're gonna watch out not to get surrounded. Oh boy, that goes down little Bobby Twiskins. And there was, I don't know, was it Frank or Bill? One of the 2. They all look alike, but they're taking quite a couple of casualties on both sides here. The bunker is almost finished up right now. It does get finished. Does the repair hold? If that repair holds, that would be massive. It looks like it might. That SCV right now trying to micro its heart out. Needs to repair again. It is still alive. That's a lot of trouble. SCV still going. And yeah, that's it. GG is called. Alright. We've made it into game number 5. I did not expect this anymore after seeing LEENOCK sweep the floor with the first 2 games. I've already said his name, the red Zerg here, LEENOCK. But yeah, nice little comeback happening from the blue Terran. Build up a lot of momentum right now. Will he be able to keep it going? He's from the Afrika Freaks. Keen. No barracks proxy this time around again. Glad to see. You know, we may get ourselves a bit of a longer game here once again. We've not really seen a massive macro game, right? It's mostly been just Like, Keen trying aggression and then LEENOCK punishing him for when it doesn't work. Or Keen just kind of being able to play very meticulously, get his forces, all his ducks in a row, and get a nice push out going. Carefully planned and all. And get wrapped the victory that way. Alright, gonna grab that. Come on, center on the low ground. Reaper coming in. LEENOCK. I wonder if he's gonna try to take a different approach after game number 3 it was. Where Keen was just doing those very careful, slow pushes. The textbook Terran. Maybe he's going to try to be a little bit more greedy, expand further outwards, or give up on a base a little bit quicker, right? That's another way you can actually combat those types of plays. Just, you know, because your opponent is pushing out methodically, he's taking a lot of time making those pushes happen. And if you notice those pushes coming out in time, you could consider just, you know, already deciding that you're going to sacrifice a base. And be quicker with taking a base on the opposite end of the map where the push is not coming from. Just so the downtime of the mining, right, that is accomplished by killing a base is minimized by quite a bit. Third base for Keen as well. Once again, as we'd like to see from him. I'm expecting the Banshees as well to make a return. No tech lab just yet, but I mean, has been his tech of choice for a long time. Okay, goes for the Viking first. We have seen that as well. Oh my. Oh brother. Alright, no, this is, we're seeing something else entirely from our Terran player this time around. Going for the Fusion Core. Blackburn, a pretty darn good map for those battle cruisers. Once you get behind the bases there, nice back and forth potential for that battle cruiser to utilize right there. Hard to really deal with as a Zerg player, unless if you do have that Spire up. Overlord here doesn't quite manage to get a good scout off either, so where is that Fusion Core anyway? It's over here. Yeah, it's a long distance away from where that Overlord was. Being a bit of a nuisance with these Reapers. You do still want to try and utilize, because he's making Hellions with this as well, right? So you want to try to utilize the distraction of either the Hellions or the Battlecruiser in order to achieve maximum damage, right? The Queens can only be in one place at a time. So, you know, either the Battlecruiser or the Hellions are going to be able to get some damage done. Or a lot of damage done. Well, it's near impossible for the Zerg to really defend against both, and if they do, it's very impressive. Or maybe the execution wasn't there, right? That could happen as well. If you run in those Hellions too quickly before the battlecruiser is ready or something like that. Lose them all, and then that could be quite a bit of trouble. Quite a bit of trouble. Full-blown mech coming out from Keen here for game number 5. We're seeing the Yamato cannon also coming into effect. And here is that first battlecruiser hitting up the drone line. 5 drones so far do get squished down. More Queens arriving. at the other entrance. Okay, here are the Hellions now. And this is what I mean, it's very difficult for LEENOCK to deal with. It's only got the 2 queens here. Banelings don't have speed yet either. 9 drones in total being killed. That is not too horrendous. Seeing that LEENOCK still has 59 of them. The Spire on the way, and he's making roaches now. It's not fantastic for him. But he might still be able to get himself in an alright position from here. The cannon of the Yamato. I like that LEENOCK never invested into the Baneling speed. Shows that he's aware of what he's going up against and realizes that he can use that gas better elsewhere. Might take the Baneling speed upgrade at a later point in time, but for now, you know, you don't really have to. It's better to have more Corruptors out. Nice setup here from Keen. Looking to solidify his fortress of mech up until he's maxed out. And he can start really pushing. Battle Cruiser there in a bit of trouble. Does get taken out. First casualty of war there. Well, at least from the battleship department. Unless if we count Vikings now as battleships, because otherwise they would feel left out or something. Don't want the Vikings to be feeling like they don't belong. Which they don't really do, in fact, with Corruptors out on the field. Don't see that fight very often, do you? Corruptors versus Vikings. Huh. Right, anyway. More and more mech coming out of Keen. We're looking at a mixture of some Cyclones with the siege tanks, but he's also trying to mix in more of the Thors right now. Getting the Max Grav Accelerator Cannons as well. Is that the name? Man, if that's the name, I'm going to be very happy overall. The Cyclone upgrade, right? The Pew Pew Cannons for the little speedy cars. Oh my, LEENOCK here. Starting to get a bit fancy with his Dropper Lords. 3 Overlords right now filled up to the brim with Banelings and Zerglings. Starting to make a move towards the main base of Keen. Keen here trying to get a little bit of battle mech action going on. Trying to trade out effectively against those roaches and creep tubers. Keen wants to try and expand a little bit closer towards his opponent. Will find a bit of difficulty. Actually, those are roaches. Those are not Banelings. Oh my. Surprise, surprise. Corruptors trying to deal with a run-by of the Hellions onto the gold base of LEENOCK. LEENOCK's Banelings not reaching anywhere near the mineral line, but the roaches and Ravagers still pushing forwards. Needs to get a couple of good biles on that final siege tank that still remains, and it lives. The good repair does come in and will keep this tank alive. And with that attack going as abysmal for LEENOCK as it probably could have. He's in a tough spot. He still has a good amount of Corruptors here, so maybe a switch up into, I don't know, Broodlords. But then again, there's already, how many Thors? There's 4 Thors out on the map. 2 Cyclones as well. There's still 14 Hellions and a Hellbat also. But only 2 siege tanks. So maybe starting to mix in some more roaches here would be the way to go forwards for LEENOCK. A good amount of Zerglings just to pin down the siege tanks or the Hellions and get the siege tank friendly fire. Get a surround on the siege tank, stuff like that. But I feel like the roaches would be a good force here overall. those Thors. We have, in fact, as well, the infestation pit finished up, so the hive is coming in. We don't have any Hydra Den just yet, so I'm not anticipating we're going to be seeing any lurkers anytime soon, anyway. But Infestors with Neural Parasite can be extremely good in these situations as well. In fact, I think that might be his best shot to get a good fight going into his direction right now. Right? If your opponent just has more cost-efficient units than you do, then just steal his more cost-efficient units. So you have the more cost-efficient units. King turtled up real long against DRG and the GSL as well. I see. Well, yeah, he seems pretty comfortable with it, right? He's not making a lot of mistakes with his movements. He's got his placements of his units in a good spot. And now that he's maxed out, it's his time, right? He will try to start moving forwards and meet LEENOCK out in the field here. LEENOCK not ready for this whatsoever. He's losing quite a couple of those Ravagers. Still working on the Vipers right now. Looks like the Vipers were the attack of choice for him. Interesting overall. I guess he wants to Blinding Cloud the Thors, or maybe abduct them. Not entirely certain, but yeah, this is looking really good for Keen right now. Unsieging the siege tank. I mean, I'm not even really worried for him, even if he is unsieging those at a abysmal time. Yeah, his force is strong enough to just be able to keep pushing here until we see some spellcasters from LEENOCK kick in. Where are those Vipers, right? There's two of them out somewhere on the field. But he's losing so many units just trying to delay this mech force before he's able to do much of anything so far. Alright, here we go. Finally they push inwards. One Blinding Cloud, two Blinding Cloud. That's two siege tanks. I mean, it's something. And is it enough? More Blinding Clouds could come in here. There we go. LEENOCK is going to clean this up. How much reinforcements is already back at home for Keen available, though? Let's take a look. Two more Thors, a couple of Hellions here. Battle Cruisers set up. And is able to escape there as well. Alright. Right. LEENOCK lives. He lives. The trade efficiency wasn't as bad as I thought it was, actually. As LEENOCK does manage to clean up a reasonable portion of Keen's army there in the end. Blue Flame Hellion aggression. And a couple of drones here. Only 5 of them do go down, so seems manageable for LEENOCK. LEENOCK wants to start taking control of these middle bases here. Preferably sooner rather than later. On the top side might be a little bit more manageable as it's further away from the mech army. And it's a bit more difficult to attack, right? This gold base, it's harder to push from rather than the kind of the third base location, or the potential third base location for the Terran. To kind of get that triangular pattern. Right, what are we having here? Finally, Infestors upgrading and a burrow as well, so looks like that it will be the plan eventually to start incorporating some Neural Parasite into this army as well. Very happy about that. Still no sign of any lurker thoughts on LEENOCK's mind though. Like, he is just, yeah, he just does not want to use those units right now. Still not even a Hydra Den somewhere, right? But we are going into the Great Aspire. He does still have a good amount of Corruptors, 10 of them on the map. There are still 3 battle cruisers out and about as well, though, so you have to be careful. Can't go around with, you know, no Corruptors at all. Otherwise, those battle cruisers will just stay above your army, parked, and things will get a bit dicey. Unless if you neural parasite them, I suppose, right? And then just bile them to death or make them Yamato themselves. Battle cruisers trying to get something done. Oh. All three of them get out. It's nice to see when things work out. Little battle mech battalion there. Waiting to strike any attempted run-bys. There we go. You know what? That's a nice moment there for Keen. We'll be able to deny that middle base immediately whenever LEENOCK first thought about it. Siege tanks already in a good position here. That is going to make things difficult for these infestors. Looks like the infestors are moving away, wanting to wait for the rest of the army before really engaging anything else. No adrenal glands on these Zerglings just quite yet, but wow, actually really cost efficiently done there by LEENOCK. He did not utilize any banelings for that fight. Well done. But will he still have enough to take on the main force here? Great blinding clouds right there, and there's the Neurals as well. Onto all of the Thors. Trying to just break him right now. Needs to target them down amongst themselves. A small platoon of Hellbats still moving forwards. But LEENOCK does manage to quite heftily break that mech army right there. "24 drones did go down. LEENOCK quite low on the economy side of things here. But his army supply is strong. He still has a good amount of spellcasters as well in those 4 infestors. May need a moment to let them regain some energy though. All those banelings, they vaporized. Here we go, the Biles. Are they enough to take out the planetary fortress? It will not be. Only 6 SCVs go down there. But then again, you know what? When in doubt, corrosive bile. There's quite a couple of mules here actually. We'll try to get the repair going, but you know what? Mech not really well known for their mobility, so that is a base that burns down to the ground. LEENOCK still finding some momentum there. Or at least, you know, stopping the momentum of Keen more so rather than getting his own momentum going. But it's still good. It's still really good. 8 Broodlords. Straight afterwards, those infestors getting in close. If they manage to grab those 2 Thors actually, what else do we have in the neighborhood that could combat 8 Broodlords? I don't know. Is this something that's not... Okay, he sees one of them being morphed here. Did he? Did he see one of them being morphed there? I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced at all. Alright, now this might be the moment of panic here. What's on the production tab? We have more Thors, Cyclones. Yes, he has a pretty good setup actually. The Thors will have difficulty protecting this gold base though, with the siege tank there and the infrastructure overall. Maybe they will be able to siege from here. We have the infestors nearby as well, so if those Thors get too close, they will be grabbed. Moving on forwards with the Liberators, nice and methodically, as we know Keen. Trying to do some battle mech action on the other side as well. Looks like that's going alright overall. Trading out reasonably well. Actually, this is starting to get a little bit closer now. After the last couple of trades. LEENOCK caught up on the worker supply. He's ahead now with 13 workers overall. But his mining overall locations might be running dry pretty soon, right? Yeah, the gold base almost gone. He's almost on 2 base economy as a Zerg, and that is horrible. Luckily for him, he did manage to get himself maxed out. And he's starting to gather up a little bit of a bank, but he needs one of these middle bases if this game continuous onwards for any much longer. Or he manages to kill off this entire Terran force. It's gonna be difficult. Oh boy, this is not a good start here for LEENOCK. Okay, does manage to get a good volley off those Broodlords, but I think he lost 2 of them as well there. 2 Broodlords going down now. The Thor's getting closer and closer to those massive behemoths in the sky. A couple of Fungals trying to delay this army. The army of LEENOCK not looking all that impressive. I doubt that Keen is going to make it easy for LEENOCK to get neurals off of from these Thors. Endlessly just scanning away. Might need some infestors. Try to go on a flank somewhere, somehow, in order to get these neurals off. Leading more and more units. Getting a lot of Zerglings involved. You know what? Zerglings are going to do pretty well against this army of Keen. Funnily enough, the tier 1 units are potentially going to be the way to save this. It's going to try to counterattack with those units. Would that even be feasible? I mean, yeah, it's pretty open. That would be another direction he could try to take this game. Oh, that's great. Good biles right there. Keen moving on forwards. It looks like LEENOCK will be aiming to try and stop his bases from going down. He's going to go for the defense instead of the base trade or anything like that. Let's see if it is the right call right here. There go the infestors right now being targeted down by the Liberators, of course, going rather quickly. Overall, LEENOCK is winning this fight, but he's lost so much overall that I doubt that he's going to be able to win the war. He's losing a lot of drones right here. Single Liberator, how many kills? 22 kills right there on that bad boy. And we have more Thors, more Liberators already set up. Itching to keep going here. And as we were talking about before, LEENOCK, he ran dry on his economy a while ago. This base in particular going down, very gruesome for him. And then any mining here that was going on is now, well, obliterated by that single Liberator as well. So you can see income advantage into 3k territory there for Keen. That is a lot. Alright. I think we may be approaching a situation here where LEENOCK is gonna have to find a miracle or have to tap out. He's gonna have to find the most exquisite move that I've ever seen. And it looks like those Thors, they are gaining on the Broodlords right now. Liberators, okay, pretty good biles, starting to pick up some of those expensive units in the sky. Makes it a bit easier for the infestors actually to do anything. I mean, the problem is, as soon as you try to move in with the infestors onto the Thors, right, with the neural parasite, because that's what you gotta do. That's like your win condition, right? You need neural on the Thors. If your infestors are in Liberator range, it's just, you know, they prioritize spellcasters, right? Those infestors go down quick, and Keen doesn't have to do much to make that happen. It just kind of happens. Oh, what's this Thor up to? Thor! Oh my god. Well. Yeah. I think the mistake was that fight on the top side there for LEENOCK overall. I mean, to be fair, he was in a really bad position, but after that, it really did start to feel unwinnable. Still putting up a fight, though. He's really giving it his all. Let's take another look at that units lost tab right here. Yeah, that is speaking volumes, right? 5k, well, actually, almost 5k. Extra minerals lost there by LEENOCK. He did manage to secure this middle base, though, and it's not been contested yet. So, that could be the win condition here for LEENOCK as well. Oh. Uh-oh. 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 Alright, let's not look at that. Let's look at this. This is... Oh, no. Oh, no, that's the Liberator there now. Alright, well, that's... well, it's going good here for LEENOCK. That's a... You know, that army is still impressive, right? It's still a scary army. You can still do things with this army. This is an army that will... Well, I mean, it looks cool. It looks cool. Will it do well here? It's gonna be rough. It's only 3 Liberators. If those 3 Liberators get shot down by Biles, somehow, some magic way, that would be good. Come on! Come on! Ravagers, this is your chance! It's taking them too long. I left one of them alive as well. Okay, well, now he needs the Infestors to neural the, well, the Thors. Yes, there we go, there we go. Alright. Oh, watch out for the Ravagers. Good Biles. Brute Lords keep going. The base did fall here. That is unfortunate, but still a couple of Infestors are alive. Another... There we go. Okay, yes. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. He lives. He's alive. Still kicking. He's moving forwards. Oh, man. We need queens. Where are his queens? Does he have queens anywhere? We need transfuse on those brutal. He has 2 queens. Where are they? Get them over there, LEENOCK. Alright. Moving on forwards. Brute Lords are, you know what, dealing with a planetary that still has 95 minerals there. This is what they're both on, like 100 supply right now. 30 some workers and about 70 army supply. This is indeed, I would say, quite the sick game indeed. Is that a burrowedling? Alright, yeah. Good job, LEENOCK. Thinking ahead right now. Needs to re-establish this base, but at the same time cannot afford, really, keen to take the top base. That's a big no-no. Ooh, drones. You don't have too many of those to spare. 4 of them fall. Down to 27 after 29 minutes. The army of Keen is looking quite strong once more. I think it would be a mistake for LEENOCK to try and push in here. I really hope he tries to avoid pushing in here. You just cannot afford to. I mean, it's a mech Terran, right? That's suicide. Even with the siege tanks and just the Liberators alone sieged up. Alright. And Keen, he's well planned, isn't he? He knows what's going to come over there. Didn't bring enough Hellions, though, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Ooh, a couple of siege tanks here along the way as well. Sniping at some roaches, but losing the siege tanks now. Little Zergling burrowed in the ground, keeping track of the Viking movement. And LEENOCK does manage to deny that northern base. Is this the moment where Keen will be able to deny this southern base now again? It could be. Infestors, there's still 2 of them. Still got 2 Infestors. That gas income here is very useful for LEENOCK. I bet he would love to grab 1 or 2 more extra Infestors here. Alright, now Keen taking a little bit of a slower approach this time. Look how he's leapfrogging forward rather than just sending all his units at once. And then just sieging up whatever comes over here first. He's actually slowly pushing himself in here. Setting up the siege tanks, making room for the Liberators to set up. And then setting up the Liberators, keeping the Thors on top of the siege tanks at the same time. Right, so this is how you want to push. That is how you want to push. And then, if you ever have a friend that's like, why mech armies, why don't they do as much as the pro mech armies, right? You can kind of show something like this, and then show the first push that we saw over here, where Keen just sends everything downwards. And then LEENOCK manages to, you know, Michael Jordan his way through somehow. And then if Keen just plays like that, right? Where it's just like, okay, move this piece, move this piece, move this. Step, step, and then, yeah. What's the drone kill count? Right, it's 122. More impressively, in my book, though, 33 Thors died this game. There's more Thors died than roaches. There's more Thors died in this game than roaches. That is crazy. Alright, well. Difficulties once again for LEENOCK here, as he is denied his southern base. Cannot afford Keen to have this base either, though, so he is in a desperate attempt right now to utilize whatever he can to stop this containment right here. But yeah, mining is occurring. Might want to take a look at those northern base locations as well. Still some stuff happening. I mean, a siege tank and a Widowmine kind of looked down on that location right there. Trying to get the last bits of money. Oh, don't walk into that Liberator. Oh, he doesn't get it again. He just keeps missing the final shots on these units. Alright. Yeah, this is looking more and more desperate now for LEENOCK. Like, I wanted to believe... I really did, and like, he was making good moves, man. He was making really good moves, but I mean, he's 40 army supply down, 50 army supply down, 30 army supply down against... How does this work? How does that... How? Against a mech Terran, and I mean, all of those are just as bad, pretty much, when you're on roach circling Ravagers, so... Like, the difference between 50 supply down and 30 supply down, it's neglectable. Truly. Alright. Papa Mitch, thank you for that sub. Very much appreciated. 11 months. 11 cool, sweet StarCraft 2 months. Alright, Keen here trying to once again claim this place. He's got a heck of a lot of Thors there. I mean, the Brute Lords are still a present danger, of course. It's gonna be a while here. It's gonna be a while before we continue onwards. Nobody's trying to take the northern base either. That's the weird thing to... They're both trying to mine from the same base. We have this, like, drones mining on these 4 patches. And then we have SCVs and mules mining from these 4 patches right here. This is ridiculous. This is so silly. This is this is so weird. I can't say. Alright, well, moving out again here. A lot of refugees going down this time around. I think LEENOCK starting to see the kind of the hopelessness in this situation, as it's becoming more and more likely that Keen might just be able to A-move his way to victory here. Alright, nice parasitic bomb there, and a fungal as well. That's doing a lot of damage. Man, LEENOCK, he is dying, but he is giving it one hell of a fight. GG. There we go.